How's that? Yeah. Now I'll mute it. Mute that. So there's no feedback. Why am I getting feedback? You guys are hearing the feedback too. I mean, it's kind of groovy, but it's killing my vibe. Stop. All right, how about that? I just won't listen to anything. All right. If people are trickling in, then what I'm gonna do is play some music to get it started. Since I'm on the session now, I'm gonna put all the exciting stuff up front. So we're improvising here. You guys ready for this? In the beginning, there was the Big Bang. And then in 1993, Ashkan Kiani was born, and Neovim was never the same again. Let's just hope you guys can hear my music. Boom, 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 boom. Because I can't. Yeah. Oh, and my streaming setup froze. And that's perfect. Good stuff. One more time. False start. Oh, yeah. That's what we like to see. Good stuff. Yeah. Music maybe is playing. Do you guys like plugins? Well, how about these plugins? Do you guys like snippets? Well, how about these snippets? Ooh, live evaluation of Lua code. What's that? Let's do like some of this. 5. Ooh, is that a snippet or is that just a mini Turing complete computer in disguise? Who knows? Do you guys like the game of life? Then how about this life? What? I programmed this today. Each one of those is a floating window. I think this is just about the maximum that I could put in here. And how about with a bigger resolution? Boom, 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 boom. All right, I'm gonna pause the music because I can't hear it, and I can't tell if I'm just being a weirdo. So yeah, hopefully that got people's attention. I'm gonna switch back to a normal screen. We'll start the music again later. We're gonna do a little intro for people who don't know me, and then I'll go back to the disco because I feel like freestyling it tonight. All right, my talk is called "What Can't You Do?" Kiani, and let me pull up my notes because I forgot my name for a second. Hi, I'm Ashkan Kiani, and I'm a software engineer living in Tokyo and also a Neovim core developer. You may know me as the guy who finally got the LSP client merged, or the guy who writes a bunch of Lua code and never gets it published. I like long walks on the beach at sunset and pina coladas and writing Neovim plugins. But enough about me. I'm just kidding. It's all about me. I started using Vim about 8 years ago at my first college internship. And then that was good because I got paid to learn Vim. And then I heard about Neovim on Hacker News and immediately switched over after Taruda announced it. I liked a lot of the ideas it had about remote APIs and that whole server-client separation. It's good stuff. But I didn't really start hacking on Neovim until about 1.5 years ago. At the time, I was unemployed and just messing around with various computer science concepts and researching random things. And one of those things was embedded languages, which led me naturally to Lua, which is one of the most popular embedded languages. It's got Lua-JIT as a variant, which can do pretty fast code evaluation, as everyone's probably talked about. And it's also used in a lot of game engines and stuff. I was personally looking into it as a method for, it doesn't matter, data processing. But while I was trying to get familiar with Lua, I started some projects, some little projects, and then a medium-sized project. And that medium-sized project was, I think I have some notes on this. Ah, yes, Lcron. That's what I call my cron daemon that I wrote. It was also my first introduction to libuv's bindings that Neovim uses also, called love, which are so useful that I have it on a snippet so that I can automatically and easily load it. It was a real eye-opener on how quickly I could write little utilities for things I didn't feel like writing full, C or Rust program. Well, Rust was, I don't know, C or Rust programs. And especially with the ability to hot load code, hot load Lua itself. So Lcron is my, these are the bits of libuv's bindings that I use. And just super easily, start a timer, start a watcher for the file system, which if you've ever written the native code version, it's a little bit hard to get cross-platform going with that. And this is my config reloading code. And this is the main code that runs the cron daemon. You might ask why I wrote my own cron daemon instead of just use cron or fcron or whatever, one of the many ones. And it's because I wanted second level resolution instead of minute level resolution. Because there are some tasks that I run more frequently, like at the time it was Prometheus for tracking like my computer statistics. And not only does it have file system and what's it called? Timers, it has easy access to pipes, TCP, and all that. So I started using Lua. I started writing some cool stuff, and I still use this Lcron to this day. Like I mentioned, the configuration, the fact that I could evaluate Lua dynamically means my configuration is actually written in Lua. This will be a common theme for pretty much everything I've written ever since. I find Lua is a very good configuration language. So some basic stuff like per minute, do some checking of whether or not it's light outside. I use sunset and sunrise calculation based on my geography. Other stuff, blah, 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 blah. Add keys from GitHub. This one's useful if you want your computers to automatically bootstrap themselves. Anyway, it's a basic thing. The point was, got into Lua. And then, but at this point, I still wasn't hacking on Neovim. It wasn't until one of my plugins broke that I did my normal routine. I got frustrated, I disabled it. But then I remembered that Neovim had added Lua support. And so I thought to myself, what if instead of just disabling it and never using it again, I write my own? And so I decided to write a colorizer, which you might have seen before. Some of you might be using. It's probably, it got a little bit of traction on Hacker News. It was on the top page. This colorizer was my first introduction to how much of a benefit you could get from using Lua, because all of the plugins that have been written for it at that point were remote plugins. They were in Go or they were in Python. And with that, you suffer heavily with the ability to do, it's going to be hard for you to be able to do something like this, where you can, in real time, calculate the color codes. Oh, I forgot I still have my chroma key on, so it looks black to you, but it's not actually black. Hold on, let me disable that. We'll enable it later when we go back to discoing. Filter, chroma key, disable. Yes, close. All right. Because I want you to see the full rainbow. And as you can see, it's working pretty much. It's amazing how much work is being done inside of this little snippet. And each step of a new line being detected, it's parsing the line, looking for color code sequences, and then adding a new highlight if it hasn't found one. It's calculating color conversions from HSL to RGB. And it's doing all of this in just Lua. I do use a little LuaJIT for writing a tree that's not super space inefficient, but most of it is just normal Lua. And I do plan on moving that to Lua C module potentially for even more speed. But yeah, not only that, it works on many types of color sequences. You can use percent here, you can do opacity, and I actually allow you to define custom ones. So this might be in a branch, I don't think I merged this yet, but if you want to have custom SAS rules, then you can. I like to make pretty much everything I write extensible. So if we look at the code, where is it? Works, and then colorizer, Lua, colorizer, Lua. All of this stuff is it's fairly legible. There's a lot of color functions. I need to export these. I like writing things that are both utilities and also plugins potentially. And I only figured that out way later. This was officially my first thing that I wrote. But you'll see there's logic in here for the ability to define custom matches and whatnot, and evaluate things in real time. And this is a later feature, but the ability to use color sliders. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 for quick jumping. HSL because it is easier to reason about. So HSL. And it'll convert it to a hex sequence when really, I got a little sidetracked. I forgot how much I like the colorizer, but the point was showing you how sweet Lua can be. And this is one of the first things that I wrote that made me realize that. So yeah, what's next? So as a result of writing the colorizer, though, I was pretty early to the Lua game still. And there weren't that many. It made me want to rewrite all of my dot files in Lua as well. But the process of doing that wasn't very ergonomic at the time. So two things happened. One, I started becoming very active on the Neovim Gitter. And two, I started writing little utilities and then Justin Keys, the lead maintainer, started encouraging me to contribute some of those back to the core. So if you're familiar with master, then some of these might look familiar to you. Before, when I was converting my dot files over, I had to do the old way of calling Vim functions. And as some of you might know, the Lua API currently isn't completely feature complete with all of the Vim functions. And so if you want to call a Vim function, you used to have to do this. And I thought, well, that's silly. We could do better. So I created, which uses the meta methods. Can I evaluate that? Oh, right. It would be that function. It's a little messy, but you can see the meta table here. It uses the accessor index to be able to do some special magic. And I wrote the same thing inspired by that for BO, WO, etc. And some ones that didn't make it into core yet. That we decided this was too complicated. So it was trying to do commands as if they were functions. And we decided it's a lot simpler if we just do a shortcut for normal command calling. And thanks to someone else, they're actually documented now, which I didn't do. But anyway, back to Journey to the Core. So as a result of these little contributions, I started getting more active in the Gitter, started talking to the other guys, started talking to Bjorn and Justin and Blue Eyes and Blue Eyed and other people. And then Justin, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I discussed working on the LSP as like a bigger project. And Neovim had built up, because I was unemployed, had built up some some donations at the time. So I even managed to get paid for my time, because that was good, because I had been unemployed for about a year at that point. And it ended up being a full-time job, essentially, though. 8 hours a day or more, learning the LSP spec and writing Lua code. And yes, wait for applause to finish. Thank you for the LSP. And oh, you're too kind. Feign humility, etc. All right, let's go back to demos now, I guess. What else is there? Right, my back to the title. Yeah, the entire time that I was doing this, a little thought had been in the back of my mind. What else should I put into Neovim? And that relates back to the title of the talk. What can't you put in Neovim? And essentially the answer is nothing. So especially if Bjorn has his way about it. So why don't I just show off some of the things that I've written? We have, I should probably open the chat, honestly. What else? What are the things that I've written? Let's go for something I wrote. Let's go historically. After the colorizer, I started getting very into colors, and I was like, wait a minute, if I have written a colorizer, then then couldn't I use this to do, I had been working with like GitLab CI logs and whatnot. So as a result, I wrote terminal mode. And I need to find the link for that. Sunjohn in Gitter is very active and did a very cool thing. He made this, which looks like nonsense, but all of these little bits are color codes. And I thought, well, what if I want to see this in Vim? I tried doing it with the terminal mode, but it turns out if you just use conceal and all of the colorizer magic that I had already learned, you can just do color sequences live. In here, you can, it's a decent way of learning how escape codes work in the first place. So if you want to play around with it as like a live demo, a lot of my things do turn out to be live, don't they? I do like live demos. As you can see with this is something I wrote recently. Thanks to Bjorn, originally he added V Lua, which I only recently realized has a very nice use case in incremental highlighting. If I use equals and do v.lua, I have a global variable I call cc, which is case change. So I can go per se from s, which is, these are all just aliases because I'm lazy, from snake case to screaming snake case, and it goes in it live. Wow, look at that. Or if I want to go to title case, or if I want to go back to screaming, or if I want to go to kebab case. This is the power of Lua, is the fact that I can reevaluate all of this stuff instantly. And something else that I didn't think about doing until much recently was if sometimes I want the ability to do like Lua's formatting style inside of the replacements. And what you could do is ta-da, or 2 or 3 or, you know, other stuff. You can evaluate whatever you want. And if you guys don't know about this, /equals, yeah. It's this /equals is evaluate expression inside of the second part of set. So let's go to some more interesting plugins. How about, yeah, it's already queued up. So I was watching a lot of Terrace House while coronavirus was happening. And so you know what I did? I downloaded some subtitles for the episodes that didn't have them because I didn't know Japanese that well yet. And I wrote myself a little subtitle player. This subtitle format turned out to be actually pretty easy to parse. So you know what I did? I wrote a little 1-second loop inspired by my Elcron stuff. And actually it might have been 100 milliseconds. And as it scans through the timestamps, it'll display them on queue. So if I just queued up the episode on Netflix, boom, solved my own problem. And it took me 20 minutes to write. Let's step it up a bit. What else can I put in here? So how about Spotify control? You got music, This is some weed music. Oh, I hope it's not too loud. I didn't check. Yeah, it's not too loud. Controlling my Spotify from within Neovim was actually one of the best things I've ever done. And left, right, pause, play. I should just mute it because I can't tell if it's playing or pausing. And not only that, but liking a song, which is very useful for when I want to maintain my playlist. I'm in the middle of programming, I'm listening to a song, oh, quickly, just like it, move on. How do you do that? Spotify. This part's actually interesting. Python. I just call Python. Oh, I showed you my client secrets. I need to reset those now. Good job. I'll do that later. Let's see, what else have I written? Bluetooth manager, obviously. I got tired of using the Bluetooth control CLI, so what did I do? I created this concept of synthetic endpoints, and then I added one for Bluetooth. So this is my phone. You can tell because it's got icon phone. This is my Beats Pill. This is my PS4 controller. This is my AirPods. And all I can do is press C, and it'll do connect. You know how this works? It's just a bit of Lua parsing the straight up output from Bluetooth control. Lua is great for a little bit of ad hoc pattern matching parsing, especially when you slap in some coroutines to linearize those callbacks. What else is there? I gotta go quickly. There's only 8 minutes left. File navigation. Boom. You know what libuv has? Files. File interfaces for walking directories. You know what else I use that? I go here. I can do, file navigation. I could do little quick shortcuts. Quick preview. I can do, I don't know, split. We can go. I found this file earlier, and I found it was hilarious. Lifeadvice.md. What is that? Buy more code. Genius. Ship that. You know where else I use that file navigation? Fuzzy Finder. I wrote this the last month. I got tired of having to depend on a binary, especially when that binary is kind of slow. But you know what's fast? Lua. Not even Lua-jit. So it's currently searching 118 entries in under 1 millisecond. That time there is milliseconds in the cost on the bottom left. And so here's my one for searching the current file directory. Here's my one for searching recent files, including the buffers. Here's the one for searching buffers. Here's the one for searching windows. And all of these are just variations on a very simple function. Ooh, what's this one? Oh yeah, this one's pretty useful. Searching the current file directory. Let's go up, works, nvim dash whatever. And this fuzzy finding is just a very naive form of fuzzy finding that does n-gram searching, because that was the quickest thing I could find. What else is there? What else is there? Oh, I showed this at the start. Let's add it back. This is my base 16 editor. This is, the plugin is https github.com norcali nvim base16.lua. This, I feel like, was an underappreciated feature, but once I released this theme editor, which isn't a branch, it's called theme editor, the ability to modify my theme actually made me make my theme. So if anyone asks what my color scheme is, this is a custom creation I made. And you know what it can do? You can style each individual piece using the color picker from the colorizer. Composability, that's nice. And you know what? You want more colors? Let's keep that green in there. What do we do now? We'll require palette. Do you ever find editing highlights to be cumbersome? Well, say no more. I forgot how to use this. Like that. Editing highlights cumbersome? Why not just do it live? Do it live, do it live. I need a file that has, oh my god, that's eye-searing. Let's go back. Let's go back, quick, back. Main.c. Something with LSP errors, something with LSP errors. I don't have any errors in my code. You're not going to find one. Briefly. Yeah. Warning. Perfect. Quickly edit it. Bold. I don't remember how to do bold, to be honest. GUIFG equals GUI equals bold. Is that it? Yeah, it turned bold. See? It's very subtle. Oh, you have to reset it separately. Anyway, what else is that? How much time we got? 4 minutes. I'm gonna use all of it. Snippets. You know what a snippet is? It's just arbitrary code evaluation. Exit. What's a snippet? Check this snippet. Engine. We use a Lua format in the first part. So let's say I want base 1. We'll do that. And then how many do I want? 10 of them. And no, 16. How many do I, or how do I want to separate them? With a new line. Boom, code inserted. You want to copyright your code very heavily? GPL. Boom. GPL. Boom. And it inserts it with the comment all figured out. To do, boom, done. I showed this off earlier. The calculator, this is actually pretty sweet. And if you didn't know, what is it? Luajit adds support for exponents, which is pretty sweet. What else is there? What else is there? 3 minutes. Terminal mode, just for K. Oh yeah, the game of life. I showed this earlier. I wrote this literally today. I'm gonna push it. I might as well push it now. I should have used my thing because it's actually way better for doing this. Works, life, Lua, life. Yep, it's only 100 lines of code. What it does, roughly speaking, this is the emulation of the game of life, Conway's Game of Life, if you don't know. Conway's Game of Life, go look it up. This is the part that does the evaluation to the next step, and this part allocates a bunch of floating windows and then moves them around. And the final result is, these are my parameters. I do 100 milliseconds between each update because I'm cool like that. I want maximum number of windows, math.huge, and then we kick it off and it goes. That's life. It starts with a random screen and then evaluates the game of life rules. And what else is there? What else is there? We got a minute left. You see all these little artifacts left on the screen? This is actually the thing I'm most excited for, which is this whole thing you're seeing right now is being directly rendered from a frame buffer from my personally written Neovim UI, which is actually the future. Now, I think I've hit the limits of what I could do in a terminal, but I think there's a lot more to explore on the creativity of a GUI. And I think what can't you do in Neovim is yet to be fully answered until I play around with the GUI. Use some OpenGL rendering or Vulkan or whatever to throw some 3D in there, or throw some other stuff related to tree sitter, hush hush. Semantic editing with structural editing has a lot of components in the visual spectrum that, you know, we still have to play around with. What else is there? No time for questions because obviously, but since I have a Twitch, I'll just continue on there. One.text, here's my Twitch, at Ashkan Kiani, or https://twitch.tv/Ashkan Kiani. And yeah, I hope you guys don't have questions because we don't have time for them. Go.